I've been wandering and I don't understand, stumbling around blind and thirsty towards some promised land. But I remember once a whispering in my ears, everything you do from your heart will surely echo here. So I dance and sing that tune, pour my water on the ground and watch as roses bloom. Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. There is only one measure when you can honestly say, I put more love. Well, I remember when we had to leave our home, middle of the night, running blind, we were so alone. But we were grateful for the little that we had, cherishing the gifts and the kindness from each helping hand. Over time we came to see it's a simple path that leads to true prosperity. Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. There is only one measure when you can honestly say, I put more love. Simu simu ahavachem ba'olam. Simu simu ahavachem ba'olam. Simu simu ahavachem ba'olam. Well, today I found a place I could not mend, sitting on the bed holding hands with a faithful friend. And I told her that the whole thing shook my faith, wondering aloud if our striving was all a waste. She said, we all have one task. All that matters is your answer when the question's asked. Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. There is only one measure when you can honestly say, I put more love. Simu simu ahavachem ba'olam. 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 Simu simu ahavachem ba'olam.
Welcome to Still at Home. Tonight is a continuation of Sing Fires of Justice for Home, which took place last fall. In that event, we featured the Water Street project of the Working Center, and we listened to Indigenous and newcomer voices in our region. This evening, we will learn more about a better tent city. Did you put more love in the world today? Today is the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. What is the connection between racial discrimination and finding or making a home? Did you put more love in the world today? How have you made a home for yourself and for others in the midst of the losses and the discoveries of this past year? How are you imagining a just recovery from this pandemic? In this next hour, We invite you to reflect on connections between home and racial discrimination, spirituality, and COVID-19. On behalf of the Laurier Center for Music in the Community, St. Matthew's Lutheran Church, and the Kanata Center for Worship and Global Song at Martin Luther University College, welcome to this space tonight.
I'd like to dedicate this Telemann fantasy to the staff at long-term care residences.
To whom it may concern. It is more than 28 or 29 days. It is more than one or two conversations. It is a long journey filled with loss and pain and hopes of relief. As we continue on that journey, we must first acknowledge where we are today. Today, I speak to you on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral peoples. Today, I speak to you from a place I call home. It is complicated, that word home. It is mine, but it is not my own. I am here, but how did I get here? What led me to this point in my journey, in our journey together? Who fought, who died, and who are those working to overcome? but how do we acknowledge their oppressors without a shudder? It is about remembrance. It is about celebrating those who have accomplished more with less, who jumped hurdles while many walked the clear path, remembering those who cried out but were not heard, and those who were criminalized without committing a crime. Remembering those whose stories for so long went untold. It is about taking the minority's history and making it a part of our history. It is about acknowledging, but how do we acknowledge in a place of tension and unrest? How do we move forward in a state afraid of looking back? How do we see light where many of us have to hold our breaths? How do we let go when we have tackled so little? Do we dig holes and uncover the truth? How can we dig when we are unsure of what lays at the root? There are many questions left to be answered, but together we can find solutions. It is more than 28 or 29 days. It is more than 1 or 2 conversations. It is a long journey filled with loss and pain and hopes of relief. They say in darkness there is light, but are the questions I am asking today the darkness, or are they the light? Sincerely.
Lord,
In April of last year, just after COVID-19 had sunk its teeth into our lives, business leader and entrepreneur Ron Doyle offered his large event space, Lot 42, to house shelter for homeless people in Kitchener. He suggested the idea to Nadine Green after she was evicted from her downtown store for sheltering people overnight, people without a home. The Better Tent City was born, and we are about to hear the story from site supervisor Nadine Green and Father Toby Collins, whose St. Mary's Church sponsors the tiny house takeout. Sadly, Ron Doyle passed away this past Monday at age 69. Doyle had become known as the landlord of Kitchener's Better Tent City, a community of cabins and tents for people facing homelessness. Asked why he decided to offer his property for the project, Doyle said he felt it was important to do what nobody else was doing. Doyle was a passionate entrepreneur and philanthropist. Upon his retirement, he took on many new and visionary projects in our region. His obituary states he was a proud supporter of the arts, a pusher of boundaries, and always a champion for the underdog. This evening, Sing Fires of Justice honors the memory and work of Ron Doyle as we present the story of the Better Tent City. And it is also a great honor to have Father Toby join us this evening. I see Father Toby is with us. So thank you all, and I hope that you find the presentation challenging and inspiring. Good evening, everyone. It's a real privilege for me to introduce to you Nadine Green, who's the site and coordinator of a Better Tent City that we've probably all heard about on Lot 42 in Kitchener. This is quite a story, and really delighted to have Nadine with us to talk about this whole idea of home and homelessness and the needs of people for shelter in the KW area. Nadine, could I start by asking you to tell us a little bit about the project that you are the supervisor for and your role, and a little bit of a short story about how it started?
Okay, so how it started, I own a business downtown Kitchener, a convenience store, and being there, I got to know some of the homeless people, and I started letting them sleep in my store. They would they would be sleeping outside, and I invited them in. They started sleeping, and I turned my store into a shelter first as a protest, and then I eventually moved into my store, lived with them, and I met Ron Doyle. He came in one day. He actually heard about me, and he came into the store to meet me, and he thought it was magical and amazing. And we started a friendship from that time. I think it was in August 2019, and things took off from then. And then I eventually got evicted, and I had to move out of my store. And when I got evicted, I started making meals for the people who used to come to my store. And I would find them, drive around, find them, give them meals. And then I still kept in touch with Ron. And he came up with the plan to let me move into Lot 42 and did the same thing that I did at my store. He asked if I would do it. I said, sure, never thought about it. And then I moved into Lot 42 April 15th, 2020, and started a Better Tent City, housing people who are hard to house. People who couldn't get in anywhere would come here. They didn't have to say their name. They just come, get a tent, meals, and just live here. And this was their home. Some of them are still here. Maybe a couple people left, but most of them are still here. And then eventually we got tiny homes, and I also live in one of the tiny homes. And I'm still here.
Why, in such a wealthy area, are there homeless people?
It's very expensive to find an apartment. most people have to share places, and there's a lot of addiction issues, a lot of mental issues, and some people just don't want to be in an apartment. People probably just don't understand homelessness, and I saw it firsthand from working in my business. My store was open till 4 a.m. So late at night, I would see people out looking for food. So I offered free food, as I mentioned before. And I think people just don't understand. And most of the shelter system, they have a lot of rules. They set it up that they make all these rules that the people can't follow, and then they get kicked out. Like if you come in late, then you're kicked out. If you get into a fight, then you get kicked out. Here at the Lot 42 Better 10 City, we don't do that. If you if you get in a fight, then like you still get to stay. If the fight gets really bad and the police have to be called, then maybe you get charged, but you still get to come home. It's always about home. Home is where the heart is. home is home is where you feel loved. Home is a place to rest your head, to keep your stuff. Home is where you're not going to be kicked out. Home is happiness.
What additional challenges did COVID bring people that don't have permanent shelter?
When the COVID hit, a lot of people didn't have a place to go. They couldn't use a washroom anywhere because they shut all the bathrooms down. Most of the shelter were not taking new people in. So a lot of the people, most of the people were staying at the bus station downtown Kitchener, and they really didn't have. They were getting kicked out at 11 p.m. They were walking up and down the street, and that's when Ron came in and thought of the Lot 42, a better tent city, and people had a place to go. And also, there's a dorm at the student housing, which was given to some of the homeless people. So the challenges that they had, they just had no service, and people tell you to be home. Where do you go if you don't have a home? Then you're just left outside, and there's not much access to food when the pandemic hit. Things are better now.
You shared a story with me the other day about an incident that happened there, and I wonder if you have a story or an example of how the Better Tent City deals with challenges. I mean, I think our audience loves to hear anecdotes or stories about how it's working there. Anything to share for us?
Well, the story I shared with you was about somebody here had a, a that had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend wanted him kicked out because they had a fight. And I said, we don't kick people out here, so but he can go to another section to stay. And that person ended up saving somebody's life, like about an hour after. He was passing by and the person was overdosing, and he ended up saving their life. And it was just amazing how just not having him being kicked out saved somebody else's life.
There are these four ideas. One is called social entrepreneurship, healing, education, and change. I,
When we're dealing with healing, so a lot of the people here have mental health issues, from addiction issues lead to mental health, from being away from their families, from not having a home and being outside. So we do healing where we talk to people. We have the mobile truck that comes around, and we have social worker. And here we have, like, with my house and the guy that just came in, Alvin O'Day, he's my assistant. So he's kind of like the dad, I'm the mom. He works, like, he's up early and I'm up late, and they can come to us to talk if they need somebody to talk to. It's just the same thing as home.
I want
That's
to welcome Father Collins. Hello, Father Collins,
Thank you,
Toby
Ray. Hello.
Collins. He's the pastor of St. Mary's Church in downtown Kitchener, and out of which the tiny homes takeout is taking place. And Nadine and I have just been chatting about the meaning of home and how the Better Tent City deals with some of the issues. So I welcome you, Father Toby, and please join in the conversation. The first question I asked Nadine is, what do you think of when I say the word home?
Right away, there's an expression that I like to use, and for me, home is where you love. If I remember the places that I've been feeling at home throughout my life, it's not contained to one location. It's been the places where I've loved people and I've experienced love from others. So when I think about Lot 42, I think when it comes down to it, why people are attracted to it isn't just because, they can have their own tiny home or the food's pretty good. It's because they know they're loved. They know they're really cared for. We do it because we care about every single person there.
What's the role of you and your congregation in carrying out this mandate and mission?
Well, when we gather and we pray, as Christians, we run into scripture passages that talk about the feeding of the 5,000, or that doing something for the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me, is to continually to be empathetic and aware of those who are less fortunate than we are, and to realize that our resources that we've been given are ultimately gift. And I question in myself whether or not my prayer is authentic if it doesn't help me grow in my desire to be more compassionate and to reach out in very tangible ways to those I see around me who have less than what I do. And if it doesn't break open my heart and create a desire to give, some of the things that I have, even some necessities that I have sometimes, then I'm, I don't know who the prayer is about sometimes for me. So when I do that, though, I feel fully integrated between my faith and the action, and there's a deeper sense of peace that I just don't get any other way.
Great, thank you. And Nadine, do you have anything to add around, as a person of faith, how you apply that to your work, your boots on the ground work?
I just give love all the time, and whenever I see somebody, I spread love 24 hours a day. Like however long I'm up, if I'm up 16 hours, it's all about love, all about giving, caring, patient, having faith, talking to people, delivering meals at night. I work with the tiny home takeout, and we deliver meals to the people who are not at Lot 42 and the people that suffer food insecurity. And we pick up the meals and spread the love.
So that's faith in action, I would say.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say to each other?
Keep up the good work. You're doing a great job there, Nadine. And, I can't wait to come by again and, offer a blessing and help you out in any way that I can, and to receive your continued prayers and assurances of love and support.
And I want to thank you for bringing the idea forward with the tiny take home. The guys on the street love the meals. Chef Amy is the best. That's all. Thank you for all you do.
You bet.
Well, on behalf of Sing Fires of Justice, Still at Home, I want to thank you both for the work you do to enhance our community, specifically the work you do with the vulnerable sector of our community, and that your faith in action is a tremendous example and a challenge for those of us who don't face these things in our lives, and we need to stop and experience a little bit that you have shared with us. So thank you very, very much.
Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. There is only one measure when you can honestly say, I put more love.
Thank you very much to our speakers, Father Toby and Nadine Green, for speaking on providing shelter for the homeless in the Kitchener-Waterloo region. It was inspiring to hear how you strive to enact a vision of home for others in all that you are doing right now. As we continue to reflect on these themes of home, homelessness, and community in our city, we would like to invite you all to join Zoom breakout rooms for around 7 minutes and spend some time reflecting on the following questions, and they will be posted in the chat and also broadcasted. These questions are: what does home mean for you? What images, sounds, feelings, tastes, sense does the word evoke for you? And secondly, what actions have you taken or could you take to create a sense of home for yourself and others in our community? There will be a few of us migrating throughout the breakout rooms to listen to some of your discussions, and we would like to invite you, one person in each group, to choose someone to take some notes and later type highlights in their discussions and from the discussions in the chat as we come back together and reflect on some of these themes together. Enjoy some time of discussion. Thank you. Thank you everyone for these thoughtful comments and discussions that have already been part of the chat. If anybody else wants to enter any final comments or themes from the group that you've discussed, you are welcome to do so now. I've noticed many of these ideas of feeling of belonging, comfort, not being on guard, and being yourself. And this relates a lot to that unconditional sense of love that both of our speakers talked about. I saw one comment from one of the groups that they were wrestling with the question of how might we create a sense of home, which is especially difficult when we're forced to be at home. New technology has helped connect to those outside of our home. We've been able to connect, but what about those who do not necessarily have somebody to connect to, and how do we create that sense of home for others too? As Debbie Lou mentioned at the beginning, how are we imagining and creating a just recovery from COVID-19? How do we move past this pandemic while we're still enduring parts of it right now too? How do we create this sense of love and community, and how can we share that with others? I liked how one comment just came up, taking the time to give back, donating where you can without hesitation, because your donation or helping hand can impact someone's life in a positive way. Access to basic services, food, shelter, warmth, opportunities. There are plenty of ways we can start. And I want to encourage this conversation to keep going as well. How might we continue these conversations and reframe our thinking of what home is, and think about how we might be able to create and share that with others as well. This is just the beginning of the conversation. We hope, Sing Fires, past this event, you will continue to have these conversations and open dialogue with others as well. I appreciate all the honesty and the time that you've spent participating in this. And we encourage you to keep considering this for the time to come. Thank you for participating in this discussion time.
Before we wrap up our time together this evening, I'm excited to share with you our beautiful new Sing Fires of Justice website, which you can access right now at the URL posted in the chat, www.singfiresofjustice.ca. Again, that's www.singfiresofjustice.ca. The website will be used to post details about upcoming and past events. You will also be able to find video recordings from tonight's Still at Home event, as well as our home event back in October if you wish to revisit them at any time. If you appreciated these events, we encourage you to spread the word by sharing the website and recordings with your friends, families, and communities. In particular, we hope that you will help us continue the conversation by sharing the new discussion guide that we have created based on these events. I have posted the link in the chat, and I invite you to click on it now. You can take this discussion guide back to your faith group or community group and encourage them to watch the videos on their own time, or maybe together as part of a virtual gathering or Sunday morning adult education time. The discussion guide highlights interesting moments and insights from the videos and includes engaging questions for group discussion, so that you can reflect on the videos together. We hope that this will allow more people to experience tonight's event, helping to spark a broader conversation about creating an inclusive community where everyone can experience home in Kitchener-Waterloo. Again, this discussion guide can be found on our website at the link posted in the chat. Thanks for helping us keep the conversation going, and we hope to see you at our next event.
This evening, we pause for a moment. We pause to remember those who are without a home or a sense of home and belonging, those who are in transition, displaced, or longing for home. We remember this year of loss and the impacts of COVID on all of our lives. We pray for those who have died and for those who are suffering from oppression and inequality due to embedded systems. We think especially tonight of our siblings of Asian and Pacific Islander descent, as well as Indigenous communities that are struggling to meet healthcare needs. We lift our song of hope and healing because when we sing, we are home. I invite you to listen now to the Holy Heart Chamber Choir of St. John's, Newfoundland, as they sing this arrangement of Sing You Home by the Innis Sisters.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. A special thanks to Dawood Warnsby and Gerard Yun for putting the pieces of the pre-recorded work together, and to our guests, Nadine, Father Toby, Kay Brown, Janelle Lightbourne, Steve Johnson, and Abraham Jam. Don't forget to visit the Singfire's website and explore the discussion resource and make a donation to a better tent city. Peace to you, and courage to act, to be love, as Nadine says, to respond in these days with hope, with gratitude, and in solidarity. Peace be with you.
Did you put more love in the world today? More love on your way to the setting sun. There is only one measure when you can honestly say, I put more love